everybody. So it's another Thursday's weekly Webflow SEO, and today we have none the other than the Marcel from the Fri3nds Agency. Most of you know him. And today we are talking about when you don't need SEO. So welcome, Marcel, and I'm really happy to kind of chat about this very, very, very hard topic.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much for having me. And as I was telling you before, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, excited, anxious to talk about SEO. It's a fantastic topic, and I cannot imagine anyone better to talk about it than with you.
Thanks. That's a lot. I don't believe that. I think there should be better people than me, because if not, then it's really really bad. Then the state of Webflow SEO is really really bad.
Hey, I vouch for what Matthias said. You're the MVP on this.
Okay, I'll take it. So tell us a bit about your agency and about yourself and why your agency's logo is an acid blotter.
Yeah, absolutely. So, starting from me, everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Marcelo. I'm originally from Argentina. I moved to the US about 10 years ago at this point, 10, 9, potato kind of thing. And I've been running an agency for about 10 years, focusing originally on a lot more staff augmentation. 3 years ago, a little bit more, I discovered Webflow. I said, oh my God, this is awesome. And with that, I decided to move into doing creative work, defining more about going through end to end with the product and making beautiful things that are beautifully coded. So with that, fast forward to today, Fri3nds Agency. I run it with my best friend Esteban, and a bunch of other awesome people that hopefully you all seen in different moments, Waffle Conference and Edgar Allen streams and things like that. So excited to be here working with you guys at this point and trying to discover how all these great companies are handling SEO and the ones that are not handling SEO.
All right, and you guys do any type of uh, SEO work, or where we like where do you guys stop when it comes to SEO? Because there's many ways to look at it and many places to stop.
Yeah, definitely. When we think about SEO, especially while dealing with clients, we try to separate it in two different ways. I believe that there's a marketing level SEO that it's extremely important to nail down, and that is a strategy that's a long term strategy. I think we all agree and know that Webflow is not something. SEO is not something that you do. You sit down one afternoon, you use a lot of your brain, you clickety clack on your keyboard a lot, and suddenly you're done. You're done with SEO. Thank you very much, and see you in 3 years. SEO is a constant effort. So I believe that is an effort best led by marketing teams that understand how they're going to position themselves and how they're going to talk to their audiences. While us from Webflow, and at least for Fri3nds in respect, we need to make sure that what we call technical SEO is perfectly in place, from the data structures in the CMS, the content pages, the H1s, the H2, the H3, the tags, the meta descriptions, and all of those elements are accounted for, placed, and then we give them we give back to the company at least the baseline from what they work and grow.
All right, so that sounds like technical is taken care if somebody works with Fri3nds Agency. So with that, let's jump into saying hi to everybody. So today we have on the stream Isabel. Hey, Isabel, and she's saying that the clickbait caught her. But I don't think that's clickbait. That's the thing. You came up with this idea, and that's not clickbait. That's really serious topic that we should talk more. That's why I was like immediately, hey, come, let's chat about that.
Yeah, and definitely, it. I think that Isabel's comment is fantastic because it talks about the power of a good marketing. And look at us. We're here, we're talking, we have people listening, and we didn't need a website to advertise this. We didn't need SEO to discover us. So I think that's kind of like at a core of certain elements. For us, and it's particularly the reason why we started to have this conversation was we had conversations with clients that came back to us and said, hey, we need SEO. right? And I think that may tie to that question that Gabe posted on Twitter the other day, of they only know it. They know SEO as a fancy word. They know SEO as that particular little element that someone said, "Oh, you should care about SEO. Your website should be very good and SEO, like number one." And it's like, but we don't know what that means. We just know that. Um, and not every company, not every client requires a heavy SEO strategy. As what we were saying, it takes months to develop and months to execute, and requires upkeep and caring. Um, and I think that having those conversations with clients is never particularly easy. They they know that they have heard their friends and family tell them that, and when randoms come and tell them, "Hey, no, you don't need that. You don't need SEO at this point. You are not at that point in your growth to invest in something like that." That feels like an upfront, right? It's like it feels like we are fighting.
Yeah. What you just described here as clients know they need it, but they don't know why need it and how and if they actually need it. This reminds me of, I think Raymar had this kind of joke where, or it's probably a true story. Knowing Raymar, it's somewhat of a true story, where clients come and say, "We're gonna SEO the shit out of it," and their reaction is like, "What does that mean?" And especially if you've done and have been successful, like ranking, and Raymar, for example, is a good example of that. Like Writer from the OG days when you could get insane amounts of traffic by one good article. Really, what does that mean? SEO the shit out of it. Like what? You know.
I'm not gonna lie, I never heard that. That like I don't know how would I react and keep my serious face if a client says like let's SEO the shit out of this, but I completely get the underlying message, right? And how's it been your experience with that? It's like how did that came to pass in your experience?
I mean, I work, so there's three types of SEO. So the technical, I always assume that good design agencies, good development agencies, good Webflow agencies, whatever, they're going to take care of that, right? And by the way, before we jump into I just want to run through quick. So, hey, Dale. Hey, Colleen. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Shane. Hey, Joel. And hey, Maria. And thanks, guys, for being here. This is going to be awesome. And we already laughed enough. So just if you have any questions, please don't hesitate, because we want questions here. So yeah, so coming back, I assume that technical will be done by the agency itself, and there's not a lot of errors to fix there, because that's what agencies sell as SEO, and they should, and it's okay. And then there's two angles to SEO, right? So there's like the link building and the content. So the links and the content, that's fundamentally what it is, right? So how many votes do you have on the internet for your website, which is links part, right? So PR, link building, all that good stuff. And then the other one is like how good of a website you are in terms of content, because just Google wants you to organize information and be the best at it. And if you do a good job, then they're gonna send searchers your way. So that's how the deal works. You organize content, which is the hard part, and in turns you get traffic. So I usually focus on that part, and I work with mostly, and I want to work with that part. And then other things, I know plenty. I know when it's time to call in somebody else to help me with technical or link building, or I just do minor, or even not minor, especially for technical things, like not whatever needs to be done will be done, but I focus on that side. So my experience is infrastructure is not there because agency made a rebranding, or doesn't matter agency or who built it, or you build it alone, right? Unless you actually build it as a business, online business from the get-go. So that's another type of client that I see that comes in, that they build it themselves usually, or like a small team. There is internal team. They know how to make money. They know how affiliate revenue works. They know how to product reviews work. They know how to sell their services. Like they have experience. But if your client doesn't have experience, then the SEO the shit out of it happens. And they don't know. They think it's just a blog post, which, by the way, my biggest always topic is it's not just blog post. In WordPress times, it was a little bit more blog is your SEO. With Webflow, every CMS collection is your blog. And that's where the problems start. So as I said, like with big power, which is CMS collections, with big power comes very big failures because you don't organize it as the way you should be, you know?
And that's very interesting. I mean, and moving a little bit further on the topic, I was thinking as you were talking about like link building, link strategy, content strategy, copy of the content, right? The words SEO, search engine optimization, right, works primarily by anchoring your keywords in your content. So, do you think that as we think of different budgets from the clients, is it worth that part of the budget, like an entirety of money, let's say a lump sum of 10K, gets devoted into 100% developing, for example, link building? Or if a client has $10,000, the best way to spend them is to do a little bit at every category that you just mentioned.
So this is, a tricky question because the question is like, what is client's marketing budget overall? Because I think you guys have the problem of you need a lump sum to do something great, be it any kind of redesign or be it rebranding, and when I say you, it's in general, like Webflow development design agencies, right? Be it a new facelift for the site that exists, be it a new site from scratch or whatever, it's like a lump thing. For SEO agencies to be successful, it has to be a long-term, some sort of, relationship with us, because it takes months to get it going and it takes maybe years to continue to show result. And that's why we look for the opposite. We look for, what's your marketing budget monthly, what we can do with it, and then we advise. So I think it's hard to say use there or here. It's just understanding that if SEO agency is doing a great job, that's like your maintenance fee for your website. But that maintenance probably will publish new things on your website every day, week, or month, whatever the budget you have, right? But constantly, at least every month, ideally every week. So something is edited. Then if some changes happen, technical or whatever we need to do, or implement schema markup or something, we again do that. So Google wants to see that your website is bubbling, somebody's working with it. So you have to understand that lump sum in the beginning is not your whole budget for online business part of your things. And also you have to understand that SEO is not a short-term relationship you take, right? Does that kind of touches the subject?
Yeah, actually, and I think that it works into the point that I wanted to make. So what I heard was that when a company has a particular amount of budget during a month, and through the progression of several months, then you're going to execute, and the client should execute multiple small increments across the board of the strategy, and not necessarily focus on one of the pillars, right? Let's say a client signs up for a 6 months deal or a year deal. There's not going to be 1 month where you only devote yourself to link building. You're going to have a priority over that, but you will always be moving the needle across the board. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's very, very accurate. That's, you could sell SEO to people.
I would love to. I'm not gonna lie, but now talking about a little bit about how like agencies like us work on thinking as SEO as an element. And I know that it's kind of like it's a missed opportunity for a Webflow agency that does products like us, that has a lot of involvement in marketing campaigns where their the main source of traffic is something outside of having a beautiful website. Then it's really SEO, it's a really core component of it, right? And as you were saying before, if an agency that it's working on a website doesn't have the minimum considerations, then you end up paying the price, and the client ends up paying the ultimate price they are on not getting the traffic and the results that they want.
Yeah, and especially you mentioned link building. That's a very subjective topic because Google doesn't want you to build links. But if you're a business that doesn't build links, you better have insane amount of high quality content coming in every day. like constantly at high rates coming in. If you want to speed up that process a little bit, still it will help. But also Google, that's why link building is like ability to be natural about how many websites online link to your website. So that's why those strategies are constant. Every month somebody sends outreach campaigns to different webmasters and say, hey, can we write content for you to your blog? We're going to talk about this and we're going to mention these guys. So that's how it works. That's basically getting votes from all over, but those votes don't get, as you just said, on voting day, everybody show up to the polls and we're going to pick the next year's winners in all web things. No, that's every day, every minute, every second that the internet is buzzing, So, yeah. And before we jump into the what kind of businesses don't need to, because we have like a tiny, I'm going to just tease it in real quick. So we have it prepared, like the factors we want to check. Let's look at Shane's question. So he's saying, are you saying Google watches your website publish date and calculates into ranking? So there's two factors. That's why sometimes in Webflow websites, I do instead of, you can have like updated, like if it's a blog post or something, you can use that updated field as a field that is showing it to people. So last update on something, because it shows relevancy. You reviewed your content and you checked it so that nothing changed in it, right? It's still accurate, no big things happened. And also what Google does is runs it against all other search results. So a good example I know is like, for example, if there's like a big scandal, for example, you writing about crypto and there's a big scandal, right? And then somebody hacks something and everybody updates their blog post about this particular type of crypto with, hey, but also they got hacked and blah, blah, and you didn't. Guess what? You're going to drop from position 1 to position whatever, because you're clearly not following the news. So it's more of not the date, even though there are reasons to believe that date kind of helps crawlers to, oh, wait, they updated something. But at the same time, not to speculate on the maybes, they actually want, Google crawlers want to see that you update things, as in, hey, we reviewed this every 3 months, every 6 months, every 12 months, whatever. We always constantly update. So hope that answers your question, Shane. So back to the thing we had. So Marcel, sorry.
It's all
Give me a business that doesn't need SEO.
An event marketing company doing a particular event.
All right, let's find one here. I think we had it. So events, we didn't have. Okay, let's add. So let's take events, right? And then if you sell events, you don't need SEO. Okay. I would put it still not on the side. I would put it somewhere here, because if you sell a lot of events, you can rank for those categories, as in rock festivals. That would be awesome. But if you have one event and it's your festival, then you don't need SEO. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Whoa.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, okay. I focused on something else, was not seeing this. So yeah, so we have like a list that we kind of prepared here a little bit onto what to talk, and we're gonna try to rate certain. I'm sorry, now I'm gonna sneeze, and no, it's not gonna happen because you know how it goes. So yeah, so there's I think a few things that you have to think about when you think about SEO. So let's start with the business side of things. So we just touched this, right? Is the money to be invested monthly into this? Is there a budget? Can you afford a monthly cost on your website, right? That's I think a big one.
And specifically when we look at that, and it comes we can literally draw a line from what we were discussing earlier, from a client saying, as a shiny object, I need a kick-ass SEO, right? To really, who is responsible for SEO, right? And I feel like the majority of the business, and your particular and any particular business, if you don't have already a marketing department, someone that understands how the SEO plays a part in a bigger picture, right? That company is not necessarily ready to execute on SEO. Even if they have the budget, it would not be necessarily the best. SEO is part of something. But is SEO the best answer? Maybe it's paid
Mm,
media, maybe it's paid per click acquisition style, right? And I feel like that the first level of understanding for any client that needs to work on that is this what I need to fulfill my business need? Am I 100% discovery? Am I 100% I need to bring the traffic here specifically? Like let's take the event, right? Like if I'm doing an event in Florida, I don't need SEO to rank my event higher. I need specific people from the locale or for the my buyer persona for that event. And the best way to do that is not going to be SEO, right? That we're looking at a month levels, years levels effort to get that quality leads from organics. You're better off spending the same amount of money in paid media. So the budget, is there a monthly budget? I think that it has to come from your marketing team of this is a strategy that we want to have for years. I'm selling cars and I need to rank in SEO. I'm having a promotion, maybe a different answer. What do you think?
mm, yeah, it's you don't need to hire somebody for that in those scenarios where it's very unique. So I think we had a another thing we had uh, here is how many product services or revenue sources you have. So it's only one. It can be really hard, right? Of course, like if you have budget for it and you're making already a lot of money, you can, you know, add more value with certain strategies. But you have to understand that not every thing needs that. So I think like agency websites are actually a good example of where SEO is not the best way to get leads. Yes, you want to rank for stuff, but if it's really valuable, then there's going to be 7 ads before you, even if you're position one. And why that happens? Because it's just high conversion topics, as in somebody specifically typed in build me a Webflow website into Google. And of course, I'm going to pay like a few dollars per click or whatever, because you're going to spend 10K with me or whatever. So there's like this balance of, is it unique enough? Is the problem you're solving one off or very unique? And also, SEO agents, the SEO specialists can tell you, are people aware that your problem can be solved? I have like software clients that came up with unique software things that you would not think that you need this. So a good example would be like, we're all used to that copy and paste, right? Is a thing that there's one thing in your memory. And if you solve that, hey, there can be any infinite amount in your memory. You don't come up during sitting on your desk, hey, I wonder if I can, if I wonder if my computer can remember more than that. So there are things where people are not aware. Then it's better to do social media marketing, videos, content strategy, like anything else, to give that aha moment, as opposed of people are already problem aware, because Googling is being problem aware. And if people are not problem aware, you're not going to do good in SEO.
Absolutely. And I think you brought up a fantastic case of a product being a complex product. As SEO is about how people become aware, in this case, of this problem that they have, and what would they search to find it. And if those two don't have an intersection, right, those little Venn diagrams don't overlap enough, you're wasting money. Like, and definitely you would be better suited to go into a different strategy. Um, and when you think about it in that way, there's a lot of additional businesses that solve super complex problems than that are hard for people to search for. And to talk to like about a super hot topic, right? ChatGPT had an explosive growth of users in 5 days. I think they got to the million, and it's like they didn't do any SEO. Their page was not ranking higher. I'm pretty sure that if we open up their Google Search Console, they had like 7 people saying, I wish to find an artificial intelligence language model that will answer my questions the way I type it. It's like, I
That
don't.
is presented in a chat form. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Enter.
So ranking those kind of products, it has to do with that overall strategy.
Yeah, and it's something you will need, and because if people find on YouTube 3 months later, oh, there's this ChatGPT, and then they type in Google, and guess what? You're not popping up as the first result. Probably should have done the technical SEO. The H1s should have been right. The naming structure, you should have probably prepared for that burst of interest in you. That's why when I work, I try to assume that homepage is not optimized for anything. It will happen naturally, but I just want it to be optimized for the brand, and I want it to also flow from the homepage so that every possible, no matter how big the sitemap, is it like small site with 30 pages, or it's like a medium one with a few hundred or something, I want it to be 3 clicks away from the homepage so crawlers don't have issues. Everything else, your heading is ChatGPT. That's it, not a lot. And if you're a Webflow agency, then it's Webflow agency. And if you're some sort of product or whatever, be as specific as you can in your homepage, because that's what people will look for, So yeah, but that's a good example of marketing on different channels. And SEO only comes later when people Google you. So,
And interesting. I mean, you just talked about how the crawler will understand and read you by it being like 3 clicks away from your homepage. So if you would have to help any Webflower here, like that already is one step ahead of the technical SEO, would that be the only recommendation that you would give them? Is like consider not doing a mega depth of 10 pages deep?
Yeah, must. Yeah, it's a must. Like I shared on my Twitter a few days ago, like a news site that I just published, and 70 pages got indexed like in first day. It's a small site, so like just 70 or something, but still, it got indexed from 0. The green arrow on the Search Console went from 0 to 70, and then few other more pages got indexed in the next day or two, which on old, let's call them old gen website platforms, like in console wars. So let's call them old gen platforms, not naming specifics. In those, I never saw them. So, but that's after the site is very cleanly built, understanding from day one, before even starting to wireframe, planning each individual URL and understanding what needs to be linked on what page, how the internal linking structure will work, everything, so you know that it's reachable. There is like an old school cheat that if you cannot make it happen, which you should, because then the architecture is probably horrible, but if you can't make it happen, there is an old school way. Do what is called an HTML sitemap. Just in the footer, add a sitemap page, and just list out, and with Webflow CMS, it's very easy. Just CMS collection lists of everything that exists there, plus all the static pages. And that's like the cheating way. But I would not recommend it because that's horrible for you, user experience. Like somebody would go to your footer, find sitemap, wait, really? And then click on it, and then find everything there is. So
interesting. And I want to press you in that one, because I think there's some nugget of value there for the Webflowers here. And I may go into a complex situation for that. So right now we know that there's another way of serving, complex project, which is reverse proxy. The guys from Fri3nds and Alex were doing a great stream about how to do that. Webflow does provide a great service of issuing a site XML, which would be a great tool to help the search engine find all of the right pages at the right time. But I imagine that if you go with reverse proxy, right, and you're changing the URLs of your Webflow projects, that sitemap that Webflow generates is not going to be useful. So not I haven't thought about the strategy that you mentioned about putting the sitemap on the footer, like feeding from all of the Webflow elements, which I know it's crazy and messy sometimes. So what would you suggest for someone that is in the level of doing a reverse proxy to help Google find their pages?
Shane, you want to take this? Because I think Shane would know better than me, honestly. Yeah. And by the way, he's saying that 70 pages in a day is impressive. Oh, and by the way, this is to just really go the medal, put my medals on my chest. Actually, it was a fresh domain, so no links, no nothing, no proof period. First day ever on Google Search Console. So that really I was amazed, and you should be too. But yeah, with the reverse proxy, not really into that whole DNS thing, just spinning Cloudflare, a lot of all this stuff. So not gonna comment what I don't know, because my guess how educated it is, it would still be not enough educated for me to feel good about it. But that being said, coming to that sitemap issue, the biggest issue I see with builds is empty collections.
Yes.
So that's horrible, guys, because that means managing sitemap manually. That's one. And when developers contact me like on, hey, how would you do that? No way, you have to manage it manually now. That's one. And two, if you have empty collections, that probably means that the sitemap from the get-go was not planned for ranking. As in, every collection usually has some sort of user intent. For example, if your one of the collections is products and you have shoes, right? Then it's okay. So this is a specific shoe, specific type of sneaker, specific one individual thing, right? But then you have categories, and those categories are red shoes, Nike shoes, any other types of shoes or whatever. That's already a search intent, as in somebody wants to go there. So think from that perspective, even if you're doing with services, with features, with whatever, there's always has to be a way to structure everything, that each page needs a design, and there always is. So yeah, so that part I can answer about sitemap, as in, hey, how do you play with that? And the answer is like, you go step backwards and think, do we really need this? Or this is just easier for me to develop that way.
Now it's interesting. I want to dive in. Then you mentioned about the sitemap, like a visual sitemap, right? And I do remember different variations of it, right? It's like the ones that have like the 3-mile long footer with all of the links and all of the keywords in that footer, that then it becomes horribly to read and maintain. But then I've seen and I remember like different pages that have a specific design for the sitemap page, and it's a pseudo usable page, right? But it still contains all of the links to the site so people can reach them. Do you have any particular feeling about them? What would be your expert recommendation about them?
I actually had a use case where I had a use case where I had to build this page before it even was needed, because lead designer of that company didn't understand how CMS works. So for them, uploading an image meant I cannot pick one size for each particular scenario we're going to show it. And we had to prove it to him somehow how that works. So we made a /everything page and we listed every possible collection, which of these was like, I don't know, 16 CMS collections or something. And then we made and then we added IDs to each section so he can go to hashtag whatever he needs. And then we would try to force him to prepare those assets and start working in that way to explain. Because for a month, he acted like he understands what CMS means. But when we started working, we realized he's not saying that he doesn't get it. The concept of, I input this image here, and now guess what? It's replicated everywhere. So that's the only fun story I have about making a sitemap /everything page. And also maybe that helps the client, because now when I think about it, like, I think there are certain types of clients who would love this, to see their website and all links to it in one page. You can even make a lock on it, if you want to, for the client, right? So just, make it password protected. But that's the use case I had, because we had to tried multiple ways to get there, and eventually we ended up, you know what, let's just make him an everything page. I think he's gonna get it then.
It's amazing how sometimes we need to find workarounds for training our clients, but it's good always to have that memory of these situations that they not only may not care about Webflow in that way, and they are not needed to know more than us or know even a little bit about what we do. We're there
Yeah.
if we're doing good through our sales process. They are hiring us for our expertise, not because they know that they can control us.
So they know they can control you?
No, I don't think so, but that's very a key part of our of how we position ourselves as experts, right? But I've heard the horror stories, and I've been part of the horror stories in my past about clients that they're like, I think you need to make this logo bigger. It's like, I think you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, and that of course is our normal silly example, right? But it's like that. You have a lot of clients that go, and I remember from Chris Doe's stories that they go and says like, you know what? I talked to my sister, and she said she doesn't quite like the background, and it's like, oh my god! So is your sister an acclaimed designer that knows? And or is she your target audience specifically? So it's like there's sometimes there's no fundament or certain pushes, and the phrase "the client is always right" works up to a certain point where making him happy in that regard will definitely hurt him in the long run, and you have the data to prove it, right? It's not just I am the expert, so you listen to me. It's more about look at this. If you go with this way, this hypothesis that we posted here in our brief and our user persona is going to make this more difficult. And you see that the contrast is not going to help you rank properly. And if we reduce this content, people will land here will not understand. So through all of that, this is my advice. You trust my experience so far. Keep on trusting that experience when I tell you that this is not a good way to go. And if you want to go that way, please sign this lovely, beautiful paper and we'll get it done.
Wow, that's even the paper shows that's something for another podcast.
Paper
Yeah,
is the way, right? It's like as long as I can have it in writing and clearly stated that we wanted to go against advice, then let's go.
I couldn't do that. You know why I couldn't do it? Go against my some of my like or team's professional advice or whatever, is because you guys have data. Design is driven by data, as in, you know, I don't know, let's imagine that where you get that data. Let's imagine Hotjar is attached, right? So you see these heat maps of people pressing things, and if we change the color, then more people press it and we don't. And then the contrast is the same. More people click out because the contrast is bad. Nobody can read this and it's tiring for their eyes. And we fix that, you know. And then on the technical side, on the development, there's again technical SEO development, all that thing together. If it doesn't load, then the bounce rate is immediately this, you know. If it doesn't load, then it doesn't rank. Again, also a ranking factor. Matters only in the end, not in the beginning, but yeah, also. But with SEO, you usually have like spreadsheets with math to show them. And if they're bad at spreadsheets and math, you have to say, yeah, I cannot help you, sorry. Because I don't think math works the way you want it to work. Just because you think you want it to work that way, my gut feeling tells me, but also like SEO is equal parts, 50% math, 50% magic. Because even if you do everything right, 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 100 times, sometimes doesn't work, you know. So it works 100% of the time, most of the time. So and for the client is always right. Client is always actually has just a client always can choose somebody else. That's the thing, I think. So that's that they're right as a client, not actually being right, but maybe just choosing somebody else who can deliver what they need. So that's, I think, what we gamble with, right? If we say no to a client,
Yeah.
or if we say sign this paper.
It definitely plays out. I mean, in our case, we do have the experience sometimes to be able, and the space to be able to say, yep, sure, we'll do that, right? And it's not going to mean that the client is going to, because I can see your side of the conversation where you're working through an effort that takes months to see the results, right? And if you make a wrong decision in January, you'll see the impact of that in July. And but by that time the client already paid you like 6 invoices. I'm very bad calculating the months really fast. So whichever amount of invoices, and then you're going to tell him like, well, you know what, I told you in January, you said yes, but here we are now, X amount of month later. So and now it's your problem. So for us it's a little bit more direct, right? It's like we'll do the changes, like, oh, I don't like it, let's go back to the original. It's like, told you, we wasted like 3 hours, and maybe a few days in backs and forth. So, but definitely, and I think that that's something for everyone here to always remember, is that you have the walk away power all the time. Like, the no client can literally force you to do something you don't want. And if you leave in your own contract a space for the client to strong arm you to do something that you don't want, bite the bullet, learn it when that happened, and then go amend your contract for that never ever to happen again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is a great segue into, honestly, the thing where we were going with all of this.
Yes.
So the type of when, and you actually, before we jump in, just want to mention one thing. You actually said it the best. With SEO, it's how much can you afford to invest monthly so we can do something with it. So we can do more links, we can do more whatever, PR, link building, whatever it is. We're going to do our best with the budget we have monthly. And let's don't get into specifics, what costs what and how long and whatever. And with web development, it's a little bit more, if we make the error, we make it now in this bulk sum, bucket, web design and development, and you guys leave with, like, we're gonna make your tires squared on this car, even though we're telling you not, but you're gonna drive out of our garage and leave with it, okay? And that's the paper you sign. And with SEO, it's more of a, we're gonna pour water into your car engine. Look, while the system still has some gasoline in it, you're gonna drive. but the few miles away, there's going to be an issue, and I can tell you that. So I think that sums up like the problem with when you should not pick SEO. When you don't have money for gasoline, then you don't pick SEO. Same as when you don't have money for a car, you don't buy a website, right? And on the flip side, when you're investing in your car, as in which car are we getting? In this case, a Webflow car. You want professional mechanics to build that car for you. Same with, and then you want another team of professionals to maintain that car for you, so it goes faster, and better lap time, and better lap time, and better lap time. So I think this is a good segue into our Figma board, where we prepared a few types of businesses, right? And we prepared types of things. Now we're looking at it. Wait, let me do a little bit of a 350. So types of things you have to evaluate your business against. So I think market, search for problem, time to results, web presence, one-time products, product count you have, budget, and profits per conversion is, I think, core things. I might be missing something, but I think these are things that you have to evaluate as a business owner to determine whether or not you need SEO, whether or not you have to get a team to maintain your car and add the right type of gasoline into it and change the tires when you need to change the tires and stuff like that, and all of this we have listed in different scenarios. So for the budget, is like, do you have monthly budget for it? If not, then probably no SEO. For the time to results, you do need results now. If you need them now, probably not SEO. then the conversion money, like if your conversions just make you a few dollars, then you have to talk with SEOs to determine, is there enough search volume to support this conversion, as in how much we're going to invest and return on investment, and is there enough people buying this with just the low levels. And then to just run through all of them, and then we jump into it. So market, if it's taken by giant players, so some e-commerce niches are really hard because of very big players there, or things like that, then maybe it's also not the ideal one. Product count, if you only have one product, usually there's better ways than SEO to sell it. Not true 50-50, but still usually. And then one-time products, as we mentioned, like concert tickets, events, and stuff like that, and especially products that change time to time can be hard. And then the last thing is the assets you have or the users you have, is the web presence, as in, do you already have a website or do you need to start from scratch? Basically, do we need to buy a car or do you already have one? And then other stuff like, is your CMS actually manageable, or do you have a site on a system like that you cannot edit it, or things like that? So do we need to build it? And then the other thing is, the last thing on the list was search for problem, which we discussed already, was, are people problem aware and they look for that solution to their problem and you can be that solution? Or that's not a behavior that user actually does and you have to look for another place? So yeah, sorry for hijacking, but I think running through this was important. Any thoughts on that?
Actually, not particularly. This is awesome, and I feel like that covers a lot of those elements that we were discussing before, right? To analyze each one of these potential businesses to see where we stand. So let's get ready to rumble.
Let's rumble.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I don't know how you want to do it. So we have we have these things with stars that I prepared, which are kind of all the things that we just talked about. We can either change them and add to each type of business we imagine, or just talk about certain types without actually adding them. For example, if we take like something like an agency here, right? And then we want to do something with that agency. Do we just add stars to them, or do you think we'll just chat about a little bit what types of businesses is it good for SEO, and that's the way? Your call, man.
Let's just start talking. Let's make it organic and see where we land.
Okay. So agency, you own an agency. Is it good for SEO or no?
Well, it's interesting. And I have a personal opinion, and I have I would call it a professional opinion, which at this point they are in different
So
levels.
you can talk as a client and as a person who's advising the client.
Right. So it's like, for my end, and specifically for friends, at this point, we have a belief that the SEO that we can do for our company right now, we do not have the enough internal skill set to do it, and our focus, it being a little bit more on community and working with the rest of the people in Webflow and in Flutter, which is another community that we are part of. It's more at a human to human level, right? Than necessarily focusing on how clients will find us on an SEO perspective. The people that have found us organically, because luckily we do have certain benefits of having a good technical SEO and someone that thinks about marketing at least a little bit. They were not, the 6-7 figure deals that we would expect to say, yay, let's go invest a bunch of money in here. Now, on the other end, my professional side keeps barking at me from the back of my head, because we know that this is a long-term investment. And considering being acceptably good in technical SEO and updating your website and putting content in there is not good SEO. We are not at the minimum of setting up ourselves for success on the long term if someone else will pick it up. So I feel like agencies, they go through different stages in their lives, and the sooner they can reach the stage where SEO is something that they can invest in and work with it, the sooner they're going to get some very crazy results.
If they will, let me look on one thing for you. So sorry for the typing noise, but
Definitely, you
so
never have to be sorry about the beautiful mechanical keyboard typing noise.
yes,
It's
exactly.
like
So
soothing.
my math tells me that you need roughly 20, 30 links to rank in top 10 for Webflow Agency. So that would say if you have a page that is optimized for Webflow SEO, sorry, for Webflow Agency, not SEO, just agency, and you would have perfect content on it, and you would have like 10, 20 different pages that help this content flourish, as in supporting topics, side questions, side, each service page is separate and things like that. That could be done with something like, I don't know, 10 grand or something.
Interesting. Interesting.
But just spitballing because it's not research. While you were talking, I literally looked it up based on vibes and gut feelings.
And I think, but it's a fantastic point, right? And I feel like inside the SEO market, and especially for all of us, someone that maybe my brain is weird because coming from a technical background, I think a lot more in variables and scenarios and less gut feeling. Um, it's hard, and we know that it's hard to quantify and guarantee SEO results because that's the whole thing of what we do.
Yeah.
But then when you hear some reality being placed on it, and it's like, look, as a hypothesis, this is where you stand. Then that's already a North Star. That's something that any other agency listening to this can take home, and it's like, okay,
To
disclaimer, of
start, by
course,
the way, yeah. So with SEO
this would be a
disclaimer,
starting point, and it's a hypothetical starting point. But you already know that if you don't have that much to invest, then you're better off either not hurting your SEO, right, by like forgetting your tags or having a super slow website or all the other major sins that we know, but you don't need to spend your time trying to reach that goal, because getting $3,000 and investing them in SEO, and correct me here, right, is like, I don't think it's going to help you move the needle.
it will. But you
Oh,
have to pick your battles. With SEO is picking battles. Because,
interesting.
very good example, best gaming mouse. That's the keyword, right? It costs like, I don't know, $100,000 to be positioned top 3 or something. Like, I don't know. It's a bit spitballing, but at the same time, quite realistic numbers, right? So imagine how much money you have to make. Imagine how much long you have to stay there. Imagine how much you have to make per affiliate sale, because those pages are just affiliate fronts to get like 3 to 8% of your Amazon commissions. Whatever you buy, by the way, you don't need to buy a mouse. You click on each of those links. Whatever you buy in the next 24 hours on Amazon, they will get a cut of that, period. So 100K, hypothetical, like just good, very good example, because that's really like in the ballpark. And some SEOs might be watching this and like joke, laughing either of how low or high it is. But in theory, just to talk about things, investments, because your website is your, uh, your digital, you know, property of something. And like houses can be different in value, and one is next to the pond, another is in the city center. Same here. So when you grow your website, the difference with taxonomy with house, that's why car fits better, is just because you can move it around, so you can add new things. But usually it's some sort of niche, some sort of problem, some sort of specialist in its own thing. So SEO for agency, I would say like this: not the best way to get leads. Maybe paid per click is better, or at least faster, because usually usually agencies have an issue. I need clients now, man. I need leads like today. Yesterday would have been nice, but today also sounds good. And that's one of the things we had, like, right? We had, where was it? how much time you have. So probably not the way. But when you start making some money and a few clients coming in, then it's probably gradually, slowly getting somewhere, picking your battles. And I'm going to add another thing. If it's some sort of local thing, as in you want to, and you're going to pick this battle first. If you want to localize yourself, as in Webflow Agency in Birmingham, then it's always a good idea as soon as you can, like the first, because those are usually, like 1,000 times or 1/10 or 1/10 of the like difficulty of actually going for anybody from anywhere, but also they get less value. So, but that's the start. So that's my kind of take on agency.
Actually, I think that I love what you just said first, right? It's like it's picking your battles connected to the budget. I think that that's not something that agencies here today in the Webflow space are thinking even for themselves. And you mentioned affiliates, right? And this probably just resonates really close to me. A friend of mine has been starting their own Amazon affiliate programs and referrals and so on. And I know that of course bigger brands have them. And thinking about what we were talking at the very beginning about link building and all the different elements that comprise a good SEO strategy, and thinking that maybe there is a subsection of things that you can do for a lower budget that still align to taking those first initial steps on SEO and seeing some value coming back in the shape of your sales. Would it be correct to say that if, as long as you have a good branding, right? So let's say we have a brand that has a particular identity, right? I'm going to try to use Fri3nds as an example, so I don't use friends, right? And then become self-promotion. But Fri3nds had, I remember when we went to the Webflow conference, right? They had this awesome, that they have their own swag, right? And they can, I don't remember if they are selling it, but if not, here's a queue. We'll love it. It was awesome. And that can also begin to drive traffic from affiliates, right? By recommending equipment and gear that they use to work, to stream, to create. So as long as that falls within your brand and your niche, is it a good starting point for an agency to work with affiliates links, by setting up an affiliate page in their own website, bringing those links together and working through it to build authority? Is that a good starting point?
I don't know where to start from this. This is a big jar of worms. So first of all, my personal opinion, whatever you think, if every link to Webflow on your website is not an affiliate Webflow link and you're an agency, not cool. Because come on, think about it. Like anybody goes to your site, finds you, thinks, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself, and you don't take like that year of few dollars or whatever Webflow gives, like half of the money for a year, and you don't take it as an agency, not cool. Because they just looked at your suggestions and said, nah, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself, man. So that's just my SEO approach. But in general, all jokes aside, and this is actually a serious thing, not a joke, just sounds funny. Yes, everything, we had, where we had it? So we had it here. So how many product, services, or revenue sources do you have? Because if you only have one service, then you have to rank for that service, right? But if you have more than one service, or you have different revenue sources, or your blog is writing about best computers for designers or whatever, hypothetically, which is a very hard keyword, but maybe you found like a long tail, best computers for left-handed designers. So yeah, why not drop in a few affiliate links? Let the crowd know in the beginning that, hey, we might make a few cents here and there if you click on stuff, but we give our best opinion, and we talked to 7 designers in our agency, and that's what we came up with. This is the list, so yeah, why not? That could be an approach which would ease out the building. But that's, as you said, like that's marketing team job. If you don't have a marketing team
teams,
inside
right?
your, yes.
But that type of inbound links or outbound links from your website or to your website, right? Let's say you are someone clicks there and then you end up in the site or whatever. Is that helpful to your SEO ranking values at all?
Affiliate programs came out of the best SEO strategy ever.
Fantastic.
No, but think about it, like people link to you for free. All right. So I was trying to avoid this, but so I'm launching my new site, and please don't look at it, guys, because I don't have time to work on it. But there's the first thing I did was /affiliates, so contentnest.co/affiliates, where I explained to developers and designers and design agencies how they can make like a percentage of the leads they send us. And if you now link to my site on Fri3nds Agency and say, hey guys, you're writing about something, you're writing about design and branding needs, and then you talking from your experience, and this is a blog post, and then you link to my doesn't matter where on my site, but you link to say, and if you need SEO, guys, go here. Guess what? My website just got trust. So however you're gonna get it, doesn't matter. Amazon some time ago came up with this thing. Hey, how about we give everybody, like in the beginning, I think we were getting 8% or something. Now it's like 3%, and some countries still have it like at higher rates. But hey, how about from every sale we give to people, but then we don't need to market things. Other people will market stuff for us. Because for those people, it's free money sitting in front of my computer writing blog posts and rank for stuff. And for us, trust me, it's really hard to rank for some stuff. So Amazon's authority, the more people link, the more it grows, which, by the way, agencies sometimes abuse by leaving links to their websites on the client websites.
That's so amazing.
But really, that's why sometimes in footers you see made by, powered by, ran by, developed by, designed by, whatever. And that sounds like, oh, they're leaving ad. Nah, they're actually leaving. If they think they're leaving something that people will click, it's only if you're niche specific. So I think Zach had this thing where he said, if we leave that, then other industry professionals, because their agency is very niche down to very, very specific thing. So other industry professionals will look at that site, that new site of their competitor, and that's very, very good link for them because they actually click on that. Oh, who made this? Oh, they made, of course. It's incredible marketing. Oh, of course.
Interesting. So I'm gonna give you now two possibilities. Should we continue with the little list, or there's an interesting question from Joel in the crowd?
Would I miss it? Oh, by the way, oh yeah, we missed it. Sorry, Joel. So I'm in a similar position. How would you recommend warming up the SEO in this instance? Did we miss it at some point? Because Dale for sure wrote that he's been exposed in more valuable information in 45 minutes than the last few years. I'm so happy. That's the goal of this channel. Honestly, basically the goal is like, hey guys, successful website is not only design, not only development, not only branding, not only UI UX, not only SEO, not only marketing, not only pay per click. It's all of those things and more, so start communicating. So that's the idea, So thanks a lot, Dale, for this. So yeah, we missed this question. Joe, if you're still here, it would be awesome to repeat the question. We're really sorry that we missed this in the heat of the moment. Oh yeah, it's okay. You have answered already.
Yes, we're awesome, man.
I mean, we're not even trying here. Thanks, man. That's really awesome. All right, let's do a quick run up because we promised to run through sites and we're running out of time real bad. So coming back, agency we established, not SEO unless very much SEO, and this is, by the way, going to be answered to all of these. That's why SEO professionals always say it depends, because it actually really depends on a lot of math. So if you have a shop, what do you think? If you have a shop?
So I think that in this case, shop may be a little bit super generic, but my answer would be 80% yes. you will have products, you'll have a lot of products. You'll need to rank those products. Your goal is to attract a particular customer. And if we look at the market, yes, the market uh, is really big. Uh, I would know if I would call it saturated, but because there's always opportunity, people will search with a problem, right? It's like I need a new shirt, new pants, new skirt. Um, Time to results. It can be a longer commitment in terms of time to results, at least in my opinion. If we look at a shop, no matter how cool you make it, from the Webflow point of view, there's still a lot of people. Um, and terms of strategy, right, and knowing that you can have like this drops or unique products or limited editions. I feel like that allow most companies to combine different types of strategies with their current SEO to do additional link building, additional bringing traffic, and leveraging even better paid per click advertising.
Yeah. So if it's my idea is like this, I agree completely with what you said. Just a few extra things so that we don't repeat the same information. First of all, if you don't have a e-commerce department and this is something you're starting, this is going to be slow and it's going to require energy, but it's worth it usually, unless there's a few things. So unless there's giant players, then it's going to be very tricky. And or your product, sometimes people don't buy it online, or they're not aware that they can buy it online, or it's very branded product, so it's a starting point for something very new. So then again, the problem is like, yeah, how do you get those eyeballs and explain what it is? So then it's maybe that's why influencer marketing is so big, to send your product to people. And also, but then you would still need an e-commerce front, so those influencers give your link, and that's again SEO, link building. So it's yes, most of the time, unless they're giant players. And what kind of strategy you need, there's another topic. Wholesaler. Beautiful. Thanks. I could not do it without you. We both have such a different angle, but you're so experienced with different types of clients that I'm really happy to have you here, man. This is awesome.
No, man, thank you.
So, wholesaler. It's also kind of shop, but
I think that actually a wholesaler could be a very interesting case, and I would stick it right in the middle. A wholesaler targets a lot of type of customers, in my opinion, that are significantly smaller audience, significantly smaller market than a traditional shop, because it's a shop of shops. So you're going to be looking at business owners and people that already kind of like know what they're doing. So when I have the sentence "know what they are doing" in my idea, then I think it's like, if I know what I'm looking for, is it best to position myself through paid media or like direct to consumer style of marketing rather than ranking on SEO? Is my mom going to type it in Google and find like a shop to buy in bulk 50 t-shirts? Like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Um, so I would lining up to that end, but there is an SEO component, right? It's like you still need to understand what search keywords they're going to be for discoverability. Um, and I believe there could even be a strategy to go more in the long term to position yourself for general keywords.
that's very great. I couldn't do it better. Only thing I'm gonna add, uh, you still need an e-commerce backend, but not necessarily has to be optimized for actual search. And if you do so as an added benefit, you're gonna eventually have easier time. But in general, I think your sales team doing manual outreach to people that would might need, or businesses that would might need your wholesaler help, are doing better, unless you're coming up with some sort of software as a service like Printful or something, which is again usually on-demand wholesaler or something like that, then it's a little bit different. But if you're just a typical old-school wholesaler, I think I would put you with agencies. We put it here, but while you were talking, it moved gradually here. So I think the same. So startup, I don't know what that means.
Oh, I can talk about that one. But definitely, I think that startup has a like let's divvy up a little bit the term, right? Because I think we are all startups. It doesn't necessarily means that we are like creating a physical product or only a standalone SaaS service kind of thing. So startup, as someone that is bootstrapping, I have no seed funding and nothing. I would say that unless your product extremely demands it, that you and you need to reach a particular type of mass market because your market is very unique and very big, then I don't know if I would go with startup with SEO. You have a lot of work to do on validating your idea, reaching product market fit, and so on, where probably you wouldn't do any kind of SEO. I would target a lot more paid media so you validate hypothesis strongly, and then begin to learn what is your organic SEO strategy. And that normally happens when a startup begins to move outside of like bootstrap and seed money and friends and family, and begins to go through the seed round, seed A, seed B, series A, series B, and so on, that they begin to have the money. They already know the market and product market fit. So now they need to begin to organically create this line, the upward trend of client and customer acquisition that needs to offset the cost, the increasing cost of paying for their users. So, yes, with money, a startup, I think it must have a good SEO.
Amazing. Couldn't say it better. That's wow. Wow. That's Mercer. That's wow. So no money startups, no SEO. And then if you have money, then you definitely need SEO. So based on what you think is that run with
And I
that
think
gut
this
feeling.
just so we added, sorry,
Yeah.
just so we add something that we talked before, right? Is like the SEO needs to exist if we are talking about a startup that people will look for, right? We were giving the example of ChatGPT. If it wouldn't have exploded with a million users and all of that, right? It's like probably it wouldn't be a searchable term. You wouldn't look for that, and still doing SEO would be kind of cool, but they're like rather complex, and not necessarily. I don't particularly see, and this is my experience, a return on investment on that. But if you're doing the next Roomba or a nicer TV or a new phone, there are things that people will look for, and you can anchor your keywords there.
Yeah. So yeah, completely agree. If you have to create those search terms, as in people need to start searching, so that's usually what I call like the branded traffic. As in, that's why when I say, for example, like I have this thing, hey, send me a framer site that has these specs, but I say, but out not counting a branded traffic. Because branded traffic is usually homepage and the product itself. So not the product itself, but like the name, so the brand they made, and that's different as SEO. So great SEO, branded traffic is almost zero, but every other page on the site has a lot of traffic coming in. And then on the flip side, branded traffic is like 99% people go to the homepage because they know the brand, so they're brand aware. That's branded traffic. So if you're a startup founder, think of it. Do you have to generate that? Or if you don't, then you need some, but also you need some money for it. So maybe there are easier ways to get first paying customers. And there definitely is, right? So SaaS, same thing, right? We're not
Yeah.
same thing. So we're just gonna delete you. So if you're watching this and startup, and just your startup type is a software as a service, same thing as startup, just whatever. If you have budget for it, always yes. If you don't have a budget for it, then go do other stuff till you get the budget. And then we have some more of a local stuff. I'm just gonna delete these two but other stuff are businesses that are, so we can finish this quickly. So, want to pick one of these?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think travel business number one on the top is amazing example, right? And we recently did a project for a travel business in Hawaii, and they were really strong on SEO. They had a great requirement. Um, it's a very clear candidate for having good SEO. The market of someone traveling to locations, you have a bunch of keywords. Definitely, the competition, in my opinion, probably is high, right? And but the product is easy to understand, always consumable. You got to play to like huge amount of numbers. Um, so and in terms of amount of of products, depends, right? It's like depends on every company. Um, what do you know about? What can you tell us about the profit conversion in cases like this?
Mm, So, like always, you have to grow your product base. So if you're selling, because with SEO, it's very hard to rank with one thing. You can rank with big. So that's why I call small sites like hundreds or so URLs in the sitemap is, and then from there, it's not a small site, as in medium, few hundred is a medium one, just because crawlers have to understand what you're doing here, right? And if you just give them like 400 words in one page or even 10 pages with 300 words on each one of those, it's hard to understand for a crawler what actually this is, right? Because crawler is a robot that doesn't know how to read. So coming back to travel, um, you have to have a base of products. So if you have one type of trip, maybe you're gonna build a lot of links and you're gonna rank it. It's very easy, but usually the conversion part goes something like this, uh, because that traffic is very, very high converting. As in, if somebody Googled swimming with dolphins in a specific country and specific city, they definitely want to do that in that place with dolphins swimming in that city, So it's very specific. So the search intent is very high converting because people already came up with this idea. That means that if you're a beginner, probably you will have more luck, and you don't have a lot of tours to offer. You will probably have more luck with just paid traffic acquisition, as in still do SEO, but also pay per click for those things that you know that you can sell, and then grow your base from there, and then gradually invest more and more money into long-term strategy as an organic search results. So travel, I would say yes, SEO, but you have to understand at the beginning it's not as easy as just I have one type of trip that we're offering or one type of whatever. But as an added benefit, travel websites have a lot of other ways to make money. So a lot of affiliate things are happening, a lot of gear reviews, a lot of all sorts of types. So travel businesses are definitely SEO driven. Just know that it's not going to be very easy on day one, but when you get there, it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Definitely, you hit the nail in the head in all of the points.
That's awesome. So next one, which one to pick?
Let's see what makes it easy and hard at the same time. Why don't we go with creative freelancers? I think that we have an audience here that may be interested in that.
All right, creative freelancers. Let's make it black. so to stand away from the crowd and then be the one that we. So what do you think about creative freelancers?
So it's very interesting. I always think of the creative market. It has so many angles, so many corners. It's I don't know how to say it other than it's like it's a market with a weird shape, right? There's a food for every shoe, or some cool analogy like that. And you can be a person, for example, that does photography and that appeals to a level of SEO type of business where you will need to approach the broad majority, because maybe either you're not necessarily a photographer, maybe you retouch pictures, right? And you make edits for wedding photographies kind of thing. So you niche it out, and that can become an SEO example, right? If I have a good niche, I would like to have something that is SEO oriented. Is going to allow people that are looking for my specific need to find me, and that ties to buyer to user persona or buyer persona. So that will definitely work on the side of that. Now, I think that the other tab that you're creating, right, location specific, is more about if I go to a place and take a picture, do I need good SEO or who are my competitors? I think that that may change a little bit the factors, right? It's like you're competing to be a photographer in Orlando, and I'll toss it back to you. Like, if we are a photographer in Orlando, like, would that be a good case for having SEO, or the fact that you are, and I'm taking Orlando on purpose, so it has the theme parks and a lot of other super heavy players leveraging Orlando. So, what would be your recommendation?
So I would say it's like always with SEO, as you said, like, hey, when people put it into money and investment and time and energy, and this is like, hey, if we have this, we maybe can do it with certain budget of time, money, energy, whatever. You have to, it's case specific, but usually local stuff, if you're of course, the bigger the city, the more players, the more photographers in Orlando, the harder it gets. But usually, if it's really important for you, that location, it's usually a good idea. Like, as a rule of thumb, it's a good idea to do SEO if you're location specific, because local SEO is one of the easiest out there, unless there's really big players in your area. Once again, we're coming back to that, players. Are there big players, right? So if there are big players, then it might be even impossible sometimes. Everything is possible, but then the budget becomes insanely. And that's why, and if you're making, $50 from a photo shoot, might be not sustainable, business model or something. But in theory, I would say location specific, usually try to go, but know that it's not this heavy, it's not this hard, it's not so big investments, because you're just trying to take over a keyword. And also there's Google My Business, so you work with that, and that's usually, and local SEO is usually Google My Business based, and just having a good site and publishing things on your Google My Business and doing that local thing is valuable. Of course, again, this is not going to be ASAP clients for you. So if you're just starting out, maybe Upwork, or no, of course Upwork would be more of a digitals, but like maybe finding those leads from somewhere else is a better way.
So it sounds to me that you would classify it more as an SEO, and I think that in both scenarios, now that we discussed it, they are SEO oriented. Like, we would need to have some level of SEO, right? Whether it is heavy investment into your keywords and your long term, or you are starting off and setting yourself for success and testing out the market. I don't know. I think that
it's both. Is it like, because I said this, we're gonna keep things here if it's both, because the answer is both. If you're a digital photo, your edit photos, right? So your start should be in Upwork if you don't know where to get leads, but your goal should not be stay on Upwork, right? So grow a brand presence and social media and things like that, and be a content creator and all things that. But gradually, your site will ideally would have some sort of thing that grows. So, but again, if it's not location specific and you're a remote digital creator, then try Googling words that, people would Google to look for you. And if they realize that, if you realize after doing that, wait, this is like biggest company in the world in position 2, then you have to realize that I'm alone, and probably maybe no. On the flip side, if it's location specific, you know what? My call would be probably location specific, yes, SEO, and digital remote together with agencies. Do you agree or not?
I'm torn. I'm torn because it is still valid. I'm more happy to keeping him in the both category
Okay.
because you're right. In the end, in this case, there are too many detail variables, and you talked about pricing, right? That not being a regulated industry, to say it in some way, right? It's like if I think of any shop or a travel that we were just talking before, right? Like if I tell you here's a $1 T-shirt or a $1 pant or a $3 trip to Hawaii, you would be remiss.
Yeah.
At the same time, on the other hand, the same thing, right? If I tell you here's a $1,000 T-shirt on $100,000 trip to Hawaii, you will be able to kind of like associate quality to the pricing. So when I think about that, I think of regulated pricing in a particular industry, and the creative space, the art space, anything that has a personal value associated with it. It's completely up to any one of us to put the pricing and find the clients for it. And as you were saying before, if you're making $50 per engagement and you're spending your cost of customer acquisition is $49, maybe you don't even realize you're not breaking even. um, and knowing your business and your price point is what will end up solving where you need to put it, right? Whether if you're in a low level point where you're not covering your customer acquisition needs, then maybe SEO should be the last thing on your mind. Because the more business you get, the slower you're going to grow. Now, if you're in a good place, the type of people sometimes that are selling the high ticket item, right? Maybe if you sell one sculpture, you're going to charge $50,000 for a month of work and $300 of clay. I don't know, right? And it's like that particular price point may help it move into the SEO, and it's like, sure, let's make my business findable because I just need 3 people a year to be happy.
Yeah. As somebody who has good sculptor friends, because I studied in art academy for 5 years, so I have all sorts of creative friends. Yeah, the more we talk, the more I realize it's always maybe. It depends. A lot of things. It could be the best strategy ever. If you're a creative, it could be the best strategy ever. You will need to become an agency tomorrow if it works. And on the flip side, there are many cases where it's impossible. Like not hard, but impossible because it's some sort of factor renders it impossible. So I think, yeah, we're keeping it in the middle. That's my last call. And I think that was your last call as well.
Yeah.
All right. So creative, if you're very creative, you have to be also creative about your SEO because nobody knows. All right. A few more. Enterprise. Do you have any experience with working enterprise clients on Webflow?
Yes and no, but I have experience with enterprise customers, not particularly on Webflow. We had work in 2 enterprise projects that were SEO heavy oriented. They went through the process of making Webflow SEO as something taken care from the very beginning of the project. Now, I don't know if I know enough enterprises to not say that they all need SEO. I haven't met any enterprise great customers that I don't type shoes and I see Nike. That's it. So it's like if I type any random keyword adjacent to the space, they're going to pop up. So I would say that for SEO, enterprise is a definite yes. But I would love to hear you.
Yeah, will not add anything. If you're big and you don't have SEO, then something's wrong. Like something is wrong fundamentally. So for sure, we can even put them here, man. I mean, but really, like if you're big and you have so many resources and you somehow forgot this aspect of having a good website that is reachable by when certain topics pop up in the universe of the internet, probably you made some sort of huge mistake in general. So I would say definitely yes, if you don't have good results. And I think they always have internal teams. So that's also like, for sure they have internal teams already. They know that. It's not that we're now somebody in the enterprise like, hey, whoa, we need an SEO department. I think they have it.
I'm pretty sure it's like, what is Google ranking?
Yeah, no. To those listening at 1 hour 30 minutes and having a big enterprise thing, if you have an enterprise and you don't rank for things, you should. That's our verdict.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So continuing to summarize the list and not to make it too long, and we already did, but I think it's going to be valuable forever, for a long time. This is like going to be evergreen content. So I'm really grateful you're staying to finish this off. News media. Have any experience with news media clients with some sort of informational service that they provide information as a service? So
yeah, absolutely, and they are a definite yes in my book for candidates for SEO. They tend to have a particular market that they want to address. They are writing to a particular user persona, so they are even primed to do a proper selection of it, and even more so, the articles normally tend to have their department on to do news and media. So the articles are written down properly. They are researched, the keywords and so on. So yes, I don't know. I don't know if I ever met a news and media company that didn't have a focus on SEO.
Yeah, completely agree. And that's why we skipped in the beginning affiliate and blog, because I thought we are going to reach it. If you have a blog or affiliate website or influencer, or you're an influencer or whatever, in most cases, you're some sort of content creator / information presenter. Basically, you're in a content business. That's why I colored them all together. Definitely needed, because that's what you actually do. Like when you fundamentally think, even if you're making YouTube videos, you're still using SEO, because taglines matter and the length of the video matters and what you're talking about matters. Everything matters. All the content, there's formulas and structures and things and hooks and whatever. Just maybe you're not doing the way you imagine. But like in YouTube, you can make a video that is just hype for a week or two and it's over. Or you can make somebody that people search forever, and it will answer a problem, how to change a tire, because that doesn't change, So that's like SEO fundamentally, just giving solutions to people when they look for them, right?
Yeah, definitely. You want people to find your solutions, right? So,
so you're probably doing it, unless you're just doing entertainment, which can be harder. But still, there's so many entertainment media sites that rank like hell. So I'm going to open that jar, but yeah. All right, next one. So which one do you want to pick?
Let's do B2B services.
All right. And now I'm sad that I forgot in the beginning all that excitement to being with you, but we could have had the whole time music in the background.
Oh, there you go.
And I forgot about it, and I'm really sad to those who had to watch this in silence. But to liven up the mood in the last minutes, let's add some music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So coming back to wait one sec. Coming back to let's make this one right. So coming back to B2B services, right? That was our.
So that's really interesting. I feel like it could fall into a very nice both, but let's think it through, right? And this has to do with what we do exactly, right? It's like the majority of the people in Webflow, they are starting there. They are a Webflow developer, or they are a UX designer that it's learning, and they are entering a field, providing a service as a company to another company, right? And that's where the B2B component starts to show up. And I don't know if we separate it maybe in early stage and late stage, right, of the game. At the very beginning, you're not going to be a lot of SEO, right? This is a lot of building your trust with another company, with another person inside that company, so you can start working through them. And the if we look at the market, the search for the problem and time to results, it will of course depend a lot about the specific service that you are providing. But in general, the moment that you step into a B2B, you are, well, a B. You're a business. You're competing against other business and not other freelancers. And businesses have different expectations about other businesses, and they will search differently for other businesses than the way that they're going to search for a freelancer. So um, your SEO, in my opinion, at the very beginning should not be as important as much as the relationships that you build with your clients, with the people in the community. So, but as you begin to grow, as you begin to solidify and generate a certain level of authority, I would say that it's very likely that you will need to begin to focus on SEO and have at least your minimum efforts. And to be an example, to be myself an example, I'm not the best at this, and we were talking with this before we started to stream. Right, it's like we're still working on it, on beginning to show up on results for certain complexities that are we know are businesses that we work with are looking for it to solve. And normally the complexity ends up being that they are not looking to solve a Webflow problem, they're looking to solve a business problem. So I think that you move through the process of going from no SEO to SEO, maybe not as heavy and involved as a shop or a travel business, or an enterprise until you get to that level, but it could be a baby step behind it.
Wow, man, you're a gold mine. I mean, amazing. I was just gonna whatever he said. So whatever.
Let's leave it at there. Let's leave it there. I like it in both.
How do you do that? No, you do it like like this. All right, whatever he said. So I just took down one note, and that was business problem. And I think I should just add this. So SEO in general is solving. So when client comes to you, you're solving some sort of business problem as an SEO, because those who do SEO not as a business, they have an SEO business. But anyways, so they're solving a business problem, right? Which would mean that you help businesses to look at their budget, to look at their target audience or target problem that they can solve, or how they can sell. So basically, you help them make money, and it's a bit of a gamble that you're putting them because it's math and magic, but you're trying to guide them as much as you can, that business, through that math and magic in the most strategic and logical way possible that you know. And to make things worse, algorithms change and vapes change and things and new UI elements appear that work better than the others or whatever. But at the fundamental, you help business make money, or at least try your best to do that with what you know. So I would say in this, B2B is sales department in a small starting company, just like with an agency or wholesaler, we had the same issue, or even startup with no money, will do better in the beginning. But as soon as possible, you should move to that findable thing. And on the flip side, that's I think why we kind of keep it here in both, as we just said. If on the flip side, like you sometimes really that's the best strategy and that should be your business plan from day one, and sometimes it's not, even your sales department will do way much better by doing outreach that you could ever do with SEO. So middle.
Yep, I mean I will definitely keep it there.
All right, so middle. So B2B depends Nobody knows. It depends. All right, we have 3 left.
All right, let's power through these puppies.
Power.
So let's
So
do
we,
like this. These are the 2 location based.
yeah, so we can put them together. Yeah. So it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So these are 2 I separated is because I don't remember why I separated them actually now at this point. But I think the idea was that some locate. Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. I remember now. So area specific means you are coming to somebody. So you're a gardener, right? So you come solve their problem, or window cleaner, right?
Mhm.
Something like that. And then the other one is location-based, address specific. So it's a bakery, right? Or I don't know, clothing shop. No, maybe clothing shop is more e-commerce, but so basically client has to come to you, right, and buy your product from a specific brick and mortar location. So I'm just gonna add it with bakery, and unless you have an example. So these 2, let's say, they're quite similar, but also have one difference. So what do you think?
Actually, amazing examples, right? And I would totally do like gardener and window cleaner, right? Those should be, in my opinion, very heavy on SEO. You are people that are going to be looking for different keywords about gardening and type of grass and everything. So it's a nice, great example to push it into the SEO. And since you need to go there, right, from trying to localize it, you can make it like more national and nationwide, where you can have multiple services. So it really works well as an SEO company from the get-go, no matter what are you doing. Now, I have kind of like a different opinion when we look at address specific, because a big part of me say yes, of course, it should be an SEO business. But then I begin to think about how would the people search for it, right? And it becomes the famous near me, right? You're gonna say bakery near me, coffee shop near me, and you're gonna try to find that. So when you think about it, there and maybe it falls under SEO. This is my lack of knowledge of this space. Um, Geofencing and targeted location, I feel like that may fall more into the paid media than the or optimization. Uh, Unless you're like that wise guy that named his dentist near me and kind of like won the game for everybody forever. Um, if it is a location based, I think you are going to try to target whether it's people, devices, phone that are already in your area, right? And that may be a different strategy than localized SEO.
Okay, that's a really good base, but I think I have a follow-up to that to let's kind of shake up things up. So let's say it like this. My vibe is like this: gardener, window cleaner, whoever that comes to you and solves a problem in your location. Plumber, right? A lot of things like that. Always, yes. I even have like friends that are running businesses where they sell leads like that. So they make sites that rank for something in your area and then sell the phone number and address to whoever the highest bidder.
Yeah.
So that's a very valuable thing. So for that, always, if as much as you can afford it, get a marketing budget. If you don't have and you have that kind of business, it's gonna help. It doesn't mean that it's gonna be easy. And the more the service, basically, the more players are there, like always, the harder it's gonna be. But you for sure need to invest in this monthly all the time. And what I hope is just that the company that will take care of you and will do your SEO will be very genuine and do the best they can and actually get you results you expect. So prepare for some time, get it, but definitely. Now for this part, so for the coffee shop, bakery, haircuts, and things like that. So if your business is making plenty of money and or if it has an angle, because I worked in a waffle shop that when you order a waffle, a creepy clown that's me, comes out and with machete cuts a chair in front of you and throws Nutella at your face. And so if you're doing that, then you probably need SEO. Because this is not ordinary waffle shop, and people will look for that specifically. But on the flip side, it might be that most people will come through the street. They know that there's a barber next to them. It's a convenience thing, right? But still, if your business is enough profitable, I would still say some, maybe not full dive in deep and go nuts with it, but just some maintenance fee to have a decent website. It doesn't have to be fancy, and some guys are really taking care of that part and updating your Google My Business profile. Because think about it like, on your phone, you look for a barber and you go to it. That's the thing you want to go at. So that's usually maps, that's Google My Business, that's what local SEO in theory is, So somebody taking care of it will work out in the long run, but you have to have money for that to invest. So be gentle, so basically be more cautious than those who go to somewhere to provide their services, but still some sort of. So maybe I would put it like, here, like,
perfect.
Something like this, sure. It will help probably, but also not necessarily the best way to make money fast.
Absolutely.
All right, last one. Services, as in they're not bound that much to location. So your accountant can be from another country or another city or another something, and your architect can be a design firm in anywhere. And your designer, we started with your company and we're finishing with your company.
It's a closed loop.
Yeah. So it's a 2-hour loop of we started with here and ending here.
So I think that actually that's a very SEO oriented in this case. Because when we look at accountants, architects, and if we keep on stretching, right, and we were talking before about plumbers and gardeners, right, there are people that provide services, whether they can do it remotely or not. I think that is going to shift a lot of the attention that you end up putting in SEO. But I would say that you do need a certain level, probably not a lot, again, not shop level. But as an accountant, as an architect, it's very likely that you are one of the key elements on your profession. And same goes for designers and anybody else here, is that you need to demonstrate that you're always learning, that you're always improving, right? That you're not sitting still in your craft. And knowing that I have a very good friend from the Future Pro group with Chris, that works with accountants, there's a lot of always things that are changing and how to actually work with them, right? And as you just added lawyers, right? It's like, and if we think about lawyers too, is the same, like legislation changes, and so you're updated. And where all those updates go, yes, people blog, so you'll have to put the content out there somewhere, and that's where, when you begin to say blog and you begin to say updates, I feel like the natural sequence of that will end up saying leverage your SEO. Hey, Joel, thank you so much, my man.
Oh, it's such a long thing because it's not gonna get all that much. But at the same time, thanks a lot, man. That means like a billion. So coming back to the accountant lawyers, I have a theory here. This is a little bit of not an SEO topic. This is more of a what kind of business are you running, man, topic. It's as you said, it implicates on that you want to show the expertise that you're aware of new things. So you have to understand that if you're a firm of lawyers or you're a firm of accountants or even designers, right? Or anybody who has to show when visitors reach them, has to show that proof of, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking, and I'm keeping myself up to date. You're also running a content business, always. And it can be different strategies, right? We have players in the industry like, I know, FinSuite, amazing content game, like insanely good content game, till eventually they just gated it, made it like, yep, no one to pay for it. You want to be part of this content, be there. So that's how I think you roll when you have you're a lawyer or you're a designer or whatever, or any type of, that industry. You want to play that content game from day one, understand that's really important. Ask your designer agency and development agency and branding agency from day one, hey, this thing has to support a lot of stuff. I don't know what stuff. And then they should tell you, hey, go talk with somebody like me and discuss your SEO and marketing and goals and content strategy. They're going to give you like a very complex sitemap that will be like scalable into thousands of pages, or even tens of thousands of pages would be a limit on Webflow. But and then come back to us, and then we're gonna build this system for you, because you're building a really dense information architecture that is good for long, and also it will keep you guys as a team on your toes. And also that's like how I think it rolls. And if you do that, I think it's normal when SEO grows, you get more and more clients. You hire, 11th lawyer, 12th, 30th, whatever. That's how it goes. But I think these type of businesses, same as design agencies, same as whatever, if they understand that they're also in a content game and they have to make videos, blog posts, explain, show, have that department, then they're better off than those who don't. So that's my kind of 2 cents on this idea. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know if the term is I have a lot to say, because I agree 1,000%. Content is something that luckily from the Webflow space, we been ingrained in all of us to show our work, to show our progress, to show how we are making ourselves better, because there's always someone that needs that information. That's that little push that is like, oh, I thought that this person was, the movie star, and they are struggling with things that are similar to us. So it generates that beautiful vulnerability. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer that everything needs to have a reason, a strategy. And as you were saying, what happened with FinSuite, with putting all of the content behind walls, right? I'm more of a proponent of a more open content for the people. But there's nothing wrong with, like, an e-learning platform is exactly the same thing. So I won't, put a stake on the ground on that one, but definitely there are different levels of content and giving back into the community that are key things. And if you don't strategize through them and you just do them, that's where you're missing the opportunity to leverage your SEO, to leverage it into putting it into play for your help to reach a larger audience. And I think that's the part that, if we look at from the angle of helping more people, that's what you want to do. You want to help more people, you need good SEO.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. It's just the way you have a knowledge and you have to share it with the world. That's, I think, what SEO in service type businesses are. Like, I know how to do SEO, for example, me, right? So I should be helping everybody to understand either how to do it or what to look for. So if you're a lawyer, you also have to realize that you're giving, away a lot of for free, but it's not that it's free, because you're just giving away the blueprints. If you want to build a house, then come to me, because you're not just because I give you the blueprints. If you're not a builder, who cares? But at least you know that the house has to have walls, and so when you come, that user that searched for you and found, now they come to builders and they say, I know that my house has to have walls and it has to have some sort of roof, and I heard something about windows. Can you make sure that I get all of that? And so that's your job as an educator, because you have something that really takes a lot of time. Like, I imagine, like, being a design agency like you guys are, right? Development agency, everything like that. Being an SEO, being a lawyer, being an accountant, it takes so much hours to get there and to whip it out real quick, just because you spend so much time getting there, like so many, so what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The word that kept coming to my head as you were speaking was like, SEO is a sales tool or part of the sales toolkit. But in the end, and a lot of the things that I try to live by is that we are not, the S of sales doesn't stand to sales, stands to serve. And we don't, I'm not trying to change my agency into an education. I'm trying to make sure that the client makes an educated decision. And if the client doesn't know how to make an educated decision, I'm going to try to help him get there first, even before we start talking about what they want to do. And if they know already, look, this is a Webflow website, you'll need to ask for A, B, C, and D. I don't care if you're going to work with me. I want to make sure that you get the right solution. Maybe Webflow is not the solution. Maybe a website is not the solution. Maybe my team is not the solution. Maybe there's a lot of maybes in between, and serving the client in a way that they can then, if they don't work with you, they are better off when they are going to make a selection down the line. I think that's my key thing for that S of service.
That's such a good way to end all this. So what we're just find out that in the end, SEO is just ability for you to, and content game and education and everything, it's just ability for you to not only show your expertise, which would mean that every topic that we discussed so far and everything we distilled into different types of businesses, everybody can benefit from it if they understand what they're doing. And they're doing, it's not that they're sifting through their leads as in, I want to have only high ticket clients, which SEO can help you to. And it can be one of the goals we're getting, that we want to get higher. But what it actually is just ability to leave a mark on your industry as a professional, as a trusted source, which, by the way, SEO more and more becomes just be the best you can be content-wise. Just be the best in your industry. Just explain the most. Have all the topics covered. Don't forget any tiny detail. If somebody else covered it, cover it also yourself. And then there's like anatomy stuff on top. Yeah, link to everything. Every time there's a word, term, link to that article that explains that term. Yes, yes, yes. But first things first, you're just a pro. Show it.
I love it. Just a pro, show it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end here, man. I think
Yeah.
I'm so happy. So I'm so happy, Mark, that you were here for 2 hours. I really want to finish in less 2 minutes, but next 2 minutes are yours. If you want to share anybody with the crowd, just go nuts and really finishing remarks, pitches, things like that. If somebody watched 2 hours.
Yeah, man. I think that the best thing I can say is, like, for anyone who is watching 2 hours of a stream of us talking, thank you, and hopefully it was a good use of your time. I know that at least you and I, we had a shit ton of fun here, chatting about all of this and trying to make SEO and technical stuff a little bit more palatable for everybody, and try to think of how this will help you move forward, and what can we all do, from you, Aviv, to me, to anybody in the lovely Twitter sphere or YouTube, or I don't know, whatever thing. But it's like let's try to find a way to keep on helping each other. It's like not everybody knows everything all the time at the same time. So we're here to help each other. In the words of a person that I really, really like, Mason Poe, that said, "The rising tide lifts all boats." Here we are, rising all the boats, because that's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. The goal is to open big cans of worms and try to go as in depth. And if anybody now is watching of 2 hours, me and Marcia talking about this, then this probably was worth it. And I know there was a lot of things, and we learned a lot. And I know if you watch this throughout wholly, you're also gonna learn a lot. Unless you have specific types of industry experience. But if you don't, this is going to be awesome. So I'm glad that we did this. This was awesome, man. Really, really great. Really happy to have you here. Friends Agency, Marcia here with you guys, and Search Historian from Content Nest. That was awesome, guys. See you next time. See you next Thursday. And I'm closing the stream now, so it's not 2 hours.